moments of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside ESPN's John Anderson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
ESPN's John Anderson, no, 7-2.5 professor at Missouri, and also ESPN. ESPN, as great as it is, ranks third. I have 7-2.5 first, professor at the University of Missouri second, and ESPN third. But that really should be John's decision as to how he ranks them. But yes, this is the John Anderson Homer Hour. Those of you that were listening a few minutes ago, you got a little of the salt of John Anderson. There's some sugar too, but we haven't gotten it yet. I'll work on that. Good evening.
How are you, my friend? By the way, I was over at the track today. I went over there. I was running errands, and I thought, oh, you know what? It's about time they should be having practice. So I went over and saw some of them. Got a brand new track in place. Went and lounged on the mats for a minute. It was great, just like old times, except for I'm like...
There's no way the high jumpers are as good now as they've been in the past. That's just my assumption, though I have no information to back up that theory.
Overall, it's a bit of a down period. At least in U.S. high jumping. In U.S. high jumping,
correct.
Yeah,
well, the one guy who's the best is he went to the school in the United States, right? The guy who never loses. Or is that the pole vaulter? I got him confused.
It's the pole vaulter. That's my boy. That's my boy Mondo. No, he never loses. That guy he vaults so high he comes down with snow on him when he gets done. It's amazing.
All right, we'll get to the Packers, but you were so negative, I kind of want to hold off because I just want to know, as of February, it'll be, for me, 45 years in the business, but I have never gone on a trip. You know how you go on trips and they have you go with your wife, and I'm doing the first one ever, and I hope enough people sign up. They should. But anyway, have you done that in your illustrious career?
Gone on a trip?
Yeah, like wherever you work says, all right, we're going to have a trip. Everybody's going to the Australian Open, and they're going with you, and you and your wife get to go, and you get to go free, and then they got to get enough other people to go to have the trip survive.
Last spring, 2 springs ago, I went with actually the Missouri Alumni Association on an SEC cruise to Alaska with a bunch of the other SEC groups, which was great. Got to hang out with kind of the big, most notable guy was Vern Lundquist, who I think is just an amazing human being, a nice guy, and just regaled. Like, he told all kinds of SEC stories, which people wanted. But in my case, and we had met a little bit a couple times before, no, he talks about, like, at the Ice Bowl, he was doing pregame still for down in Dallas when he worked there, and, like, everybody went to Lombardi's house in his basement the night before the game, and he entertained the media.
Whoa!
And, stories like that, which are priceless.
That's big, but the Batmaster stuff is bigger with Jack Nicklaus, and then the shot by Tiger, right, where the ball went in because the crowd actually put it in. I don't know how he would rank him, but he's one of those individuals. Yeah, he's one of those individuals that history will never give him his proper due because he was never at the top of the top. But he has moments, the equal of anyone, and his calls of some of those moments. Accurate, or do you agree?
Yeah, he's parked at the Masters on 16 for a long time. Listen, he covered, right? He was there for the Kerrigan, Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding thing that he went through. His time locally in Dallas. When he was there, he's an absolute legend. What he never was a look at me guy, and so that's sort of one of his great things. Is he was just always gracious and never was one of these. He's the old Keith Jackson used to always say his job was to inform, clarify, amplify, and don't intrude. And that was Vern. Didn't intrude.
But at one point in time, Keith Jackson and others were at the top. Vern was never at the top, but to anybody in the business, he was their equal.
Yeah, you're right. He was never the number one guy.
You have Al Michaels. Do you believe in miracles? But Vern Lundquist's top two are the equal to that. The event just isn't historically as famous. I don't know.
I still on occasion will bust out the Jackie Smith. Bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man in America, which doesn't get enough.
Yes. All right, back to the trip. So here's the deal. You got to help me on the travel fans. Listen up. The Many Shades of Ireland with Homer and Colette Vacations on August the 9th. We're heading off on an unbelievable journey. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. Visit an Irish dairy farm, enjoy a taste or two at a historic whiskey distillery or 3 or 4, and stay in a medieval castle. Colette handles everything. All you have to do is text Homer to the ESPN Milwaukee Talk and Text line Homer to 1-800-990-3776. Homer, 1-800-990-3776. You probably don't get this. I'm assuming when I go, 20 people, everybody who's there will say to my wife, "You're a saint." I don't know how you could have lived with him, but I don't know that they. Yeah, and I'm like, fine. You think I feel guilty about that? Hey, I had a good first round draft choice. I think I drafted well. She was in a bit of a slump, so I don't know how you answered.
If you're worried about that, if you're worried about it, leave her at home. I'll be your +1. That'll be fine. Then you don't have to worry about that.
No, she definitely wants to go, but I've warned her ahead of time that she's going to get that question a number of times. So all you got to do is text Homer to 800-990-3776. All right, you ready to talk about the Packers? Professor Big Daddy. Are you actually, is that the label you're going to go? No.
Alex said, he said, are they going to call you Professor Anderson or they call you John? I'm like, I don't know, probably just Big Daddy J.A. I just was being a smart ass, that's all. I don't believe anybody in the right mind would ever call me that.
Well, since you went to Missouri, can you remember any professor that had a name? I can't. I mean, I went to a number of colleges. I don't know that I can remember any one professor that I ever had. Do you remember?
Yeah, there's a great fellow by the name Don Ranley, who is 88 years old, who I had for history and principles of journalism, and was the greatest ambassador ever. He and I had lunch the other day. Every time I come in town, I make a point to see him. He's a fascinating man.
Wow.
2 degrees from Marquette, and those came from the seminary. He was a priest for 13 years before he switched and left the church and began teaching journalism. So he's a fascinating man. So yeah, I have a couple of those guys that I love to hang out with and see and visit with.
And you would hope, I don't know what time you're listed, at some point, people will say the same thing about you. And then you will love it when they say, you were on ESPN?
Exactly. I get that now. They're like, oh, you're the Wipeout guy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I just listen. I know the AP style book, and I think what good writing is. So who cares what I did, before that? Let's just worry about you and what you need to learn.
Wow. Do kids need to write anymore or what? Now that you're a professor, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more valuable than ever before, but I'm not sure that I know why. It's like when I told Brian Bulaga, get your college degree, you lazy bum. Your kids should know that it's that important. And he's like, I don't think it's necessary. I think we got it figured out pretty well here, how the way to go. So, you do need to write, but now everybody has AI write it for you. Well, and they're pretty good. How are you going to handle that?
I think there are holes in the AI. I think actually sometimes it's terrible and they make mistakes, and it's just plagiarism. Wouldn't you rather write something yourself and have ownership of it than just go, yeah, here, I'll do that?
Yes, I would.
Like if we had a machine that just said, Homer, plug in what you want to talk about, and then the robot spit it out and did your job, you'd be crushed. And they can't do it like you do it.
Actually, I did do AI and ask a question about what would Homer say, and I've said this. I think AI Homer might be better than Homer, but I haven't. But I think the concept of what you say of getting people to write, yes. But what I would do is I'd go to AI, have him write it, and then I would adjust it accordingly to make it a little more like me. But I'm interested in your challenge and how you talk about it in the future. As to, I don't know that I would have any everything would be done live in class, like any tests or everything. Or if you're writing something, I got to make them do it there because anything else is just too easy for it to be all or something else. Professor, am I of any assistance or is it stupid?
Hopefully you can recognize that. There's actually, I was meeting with the guy who's the head of the faculty of rep, talking about some of this, and he said there's a real discussion going on about going back to blue books and do just what you said. So kids are writing right there and turning it in, as opposed to Canvas and all this other things. Are this choir of angels because of me?
No, I'm at Fiserv Forum, and I didn't know how much people can hear behind. How much can you hear? Am I going to get suspended?
Attention, take my hat off.
Okay, all right, so you can hear. That is the first you brought it up. So yes, that is the end of the national anthem, and I'm hoping they don't do it again. But I asked before, Pebble, how clearly could people hear that? Or
I can hear it in the background. Yes,
you
same
could
as
hear
John.
it in the background. All right. Well, I don't know what to do if they start singing it again. I think once is enough, and it wasn't as loud as the other things. All right. I feel like I want to get to the Packers, but I want to make sure we cover other things because that section of the show is going to be tough to make it positive for all the reasons I heard you say a few minutes ago. Is there anything outside of the Packers that you want to address that we can get to before we start the second quarter with Homer trying to talk to John Anderson? Oh, we have Jason Wilde. All right, we've got Jason Wilde up. So I will do this. The Packers were a bigger underdog last year against Dallas than they are this year. Well, this win wouldn't be as amazing as last year's win if they won, correct? I mean, they already did this.
Shocked if they won, just like I was last year.
Right, okay. But, I mean, the win over Dallas, every bit as surprising as this win would be, correct?
I would put them on par, given past what the performance of this team over the last month and over the entirety of the year.
And I don't think you're giving them credit for being as good as they are. They have lost all their close games. They're a top 10 offense and defensive team in points scored and points given up for the first time since 2010. They are an elite team. They just aren't. I mean, the problem is Philly's better. Well, no, they win, but they're, Philly's better than they are in all the stats. So it's a tough year, but they're good, right? Can you say the Packers are good? What?
Again, two things. I'll give you the stat.
Yes.
The two things. One is, what does the guy that say, take your stats and stick them, or you made stats, or whatever. But it's the Vin Scully, right? Okay, that's great. That's I don't know that that's illuminated anything, but they've propped you up.
Well, no, it's illuminated them in that I expect the game to be close.
Sure. Okay, they'll be in the game.
And so the Packers have to find a way to win one, but they're in the league of.
What indication?
What makes me believe?
What indication has they given you that they will figure that out now that they haven't in the first 17 weeks?
Cooper is capable of being the difference in handling the rushing game of the Philadelphia Eagles. You want anything more than that?
That's it.
Cooper.
Let's just go look at the last 3 times. Look at the last 3 times they played Saquon Barkley. He's killed them, and they know he's coming. Right? He's on the scouting report.
Yeah. And how many of those games did they have Coop? How many times did they have Coop? 0. He wasn't even playing that. I don't even know if there was
he's going to make that big a difference. He's going to
he will make. Yes. Okay. I may not sell you, but that is the huge difference. All right, you're just smiling now. Like you would say, that's why they call you Homer. Come on, Homer. You got to do better than that. Come on, that's the best you got. And Jalen Hurts will be. He's going to play. I think the concussion. I'm not buying that totally. But he's been.
Kenny Pickett, they get a chance. I'll take this.
He's been sitting out for a while, so he'll be a little bit rusty. All right, we'll see the opinion of Jason Wilde. Quarter 2 coming up. He's next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Bit of an issue down near the airport on 94 heading northbound. Looks like we've got the right lane blocked with a broken down vehicle. A little bit past that, there is a crash blocking the right lane. So this is just before or just after College Avenue. Delays stretching back past Rawson. Southbound on 43, delays from Locust all the way down through the Marquette and over the high rise down to the KK River. Northbound's backed up from Fond du Lac Avenue up to Locust. And then westbound 94, a hefty ride out of the Marquette all the way to Hawley Road. The eastbound side's heavy from 84th Street to 35th. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 13. Then tomorrow, sun and clouds, a few flurries with a high of 22. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
What happens when you mix a three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
Are you guys being
turnovers.
serious? You guys can't put two and two
I got it. I could not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucks fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at Bucks.com/tickets. That's Bucks.com/tickets.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, the certainty of protection and income are the keys to success. And as a former NFL player myself, I have experience with both. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game films helped me mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. Now I star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception to help you visualize and prepare for your fourth quarter of life. You see, you don't retire on your nest egg, but rather the income it can produce. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. And it's free for you to view. Call 855-620-1801 right now for your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Don't risk your retirement savings at the goal line. You don't need to be risky to have a winning strategy. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Call today. 855-620-1801. That's 855-620-1801. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school.
Yay!
It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Kevin Moret for Mentality. Guys, carrying extra belly fat can make you feel frustrated and self-conscious. And let's face it, it changes how others see you. Most new Mentality clients start at only 1/3 of the free testosterone they need, which makes losing that stubborn fat a real struggle. Our doctors specialize in restoring free testosterone and combining it with semaglutide, which targets fat while keeping your muscle. Feel confident in your look again. Visit mentalityhealth.com/radio for a new year offer and get started today. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
I tried to convince John Anderson the Packers could win. Cooper is the key. Maybe Jason Wilde will have more success. Jason Wilde, all Packers all the time. Jason, convince John Anderson the best you have as to why the Packers could or will win the game.
And the answer is supposed to be Edger and Cooper?
Yeah, that's the difference. Yes.
They
can stop the running game. Yeah, that's the difference between when they played him in the past. Yeah. Coop! Think I'm overselling him?
Yeah, but you've been doing that for a while now. Like, he's really good. I don't want your over-salesmanship to undercut how good he's been, because he has been good. But this is going to be to slow down a dude that ran for 2,000 yards and an offense that, again, we'll see where Jalen Hurts is at, right? He's still technically in the concussion protocol. But if he is healthy, their offense might be a little rusty, but I think they'll probably wake up fairly quickly. Their defense is playing really, really well. They don't give up big plays. The Packers just lost Christian Watson. I think it's a really tall order for them to win. I'm not saying they can't, but it's going to take, like I told you after the game, I think it's probably going to take a near perfect effort. So Cooper is certainly part of stopping Saquon Barkley. But I mean, to me, they're going to have to be able to score points. And that means their quarterback is going to have to play a heck of a lot better than he has in recent weeks. That would be my starting point. Cooper's part of the equation. Getting a pass rush somehow, because we heard all the excuses from the first game that they weren't really trying to rush Jalen Hurts, right? They were because they were worried about his running ability. So they're going to have to be able to create some pressure on Hurts. They're going to have to be able to stop the run. They're going to have to not be torched by two really good wide receivers, and they're obviously not getting Jair Alexander back. And they're going to need Jordan Love to play well, especially if the Eagles' defense says we're not going to let Josh Jacobs beat us. Just like you guys don't want to let Saquon Barkley beat you, we're not going to let Josh Jacobs beat us. And I'm eager to see if they're able to do that.
All right, John, take over. I gave it my best shot.
Than I am. Homer, he's tougher on him than I am.
That's saying something, too.
Listen, all right. It's not that they certainly have the personnel. They can win the game. Yes, that's obvious. Will they? They've shown me no indication that they can. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a difference between those. Can they win? Sure. Will they win? They're equipped to win, but they haven't done anything. Jason, what I find most disturbing about any of this is outside of the kicker, I don't know that they feel terribly improved from week 1 to week 18. They just play still very sloppy, make kind of all these things. Oh, we got to clean up stuff. Like there's always stuff to clean up, and not just a little. And I don't know if you see that or what your thought is that, but that's just what I just think at this time of year, sloppy teams aren't going to win football games, and they've been sloppy all year long.
Right, and that's the word that Matt LaFleur used. And look, they had some games where they weren't sloppy, right? They had some times where they kind of were, they seemed to be really clicking. But that certainly has not happened of late, and it certainly didn't happen against the best teams in the league. And now you're in the playoffs, which is comprised exclusively of the best teams in the league. So, look, there's a couple of things at work here, and LaFleur and I had a pretty lengthy back and forth yesterday toward the end of his press conference about this sloppiness, because that has been his buzzword, man. Like he used it after they lost to the Vikings. He used it after they lost to the Bears. Then he used it again yesterday when we were talking. And my point to him was, how are you this sloppy at this point in the year, right? Like the whole idea would be that by the time you hit the end of the season, you have worked that all out. And look, there were times where you thought, well, God, these guys commit more penalties than like the 1980s Raiders, right? And so you were trying to figure out if they could get that fixed. Well, they did. There were times when their defense, you would see Quay Walker seemingly be in the right gap and inexplicably jump into the wrong gap while the running back ran through the gap he was just in. So all those things seem to subside. But what I wanted to understand was, all right, when you're talking about sloppy and the fact that you're still sloppy now, what does that mean? And I thought he was really insightful about it, because what he said basically was they've kind of screwed up with the way they've approached practice. By going to more of the jog-through stuff, he certainly wanted to take, the stress off their bodies, and with good reason, because it's late in the year and guys get beat up. But I think what his point was that when you do that, you're seeing bad hand placement, bad pad level, bad precision in terms of your route running, bad footwork from your quarterback, which is leading to inaccuracy. Like all these things that create that sloppiness. And if your footwork as a pass blocker is off and you get beat, then you go and reach for a guy that just beat you, you get called for holding. Like all that stuff piles up. And for this team, I think that's what's kind of created this sloppiness. And look, let's also be honest. And I am a Jordan Love believer, but Jordan Love has not been good enough this season. He did not make the big leap that everyone, and frankly, including Jordan himself, was expecting from him. And so you put all that together and you lose back-to-back games and you're kind of tripping into the playoffs as opposed to coming in full steam ahead like they were last year because, yes, they lost to Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Yes, they lost to Baker Mayfield, who had a perfect passer rating in Lambeau. Yes, they blew that lead on Christmas Eve. But the fact of the matter is they had won 3 in a row, and they look like a team that no one wanted a part of. Right now, the way they have played and the sloppiness they've exhibited, they are not the team that everyone's going, oh, I don't want to have to play the Packers. They are not that team in the NFC.
I think they are appropriately seeded. If you were to guess right now, I think the Rams, even though they beat them, have played better the last month, that you don't want a part of them. Maybe Tampa. Otherwise, I think that's probably where their place is. We kept waiting for them to show what they can be, and I think they've shown us who they are, which right now is not great. I do think you talk about Jordan Love, Jason. I feel like sometimes they've tried to force that growth from him. Instead of going, you know what, this is working. Let's just keep going. We'll keep running. I get it. So we're going to throw it 15 times instead of 25. And I haven't coached enough football that maybe that's what you have to do is force that growth. But I do feel like sometimes LaFleur has gone, well, we're doing really well right here, and now let's get Jordan some work. I don't know if you see that or not.
Yeah, when I look at what Jordan's season has looked like, certainly a factor in it has been the time he missed, the practice time he missed, the playing through injuries. That, he deserves the benefit of the doubt on some of that. But lately, his accuracy, by his own admission, he said, I've been too inconsistent with my accuracy. I agree with him. And that is, an area that he has, there were questions about him coming out in the draft. It's an area that he is always focused on. But again, I think it comes down to, the missed practice time is part of it. The injuries are part of it. But part of it, too, is he's a second-year quarterback, and I think he's going through the maturation process of understanding what he can and can't do, of what risks he can and can't take. But also, like, I don't know about you, but I think there are times when you are starting to feel yourself a little bit, where maybe there's, I don't want to call it overconfidence, but like, well, I don't have to necessarily step into this throw or throw it with perfect mechanics because I can sidearm it. It's going to be really cool, and it's going to be like Patrick Mahomes and that kind of stuff. And I think there have been some times where his fundamentals have lagged, and he has kind of abandoned them with some of his mechanics, and that stuff matters when it comes to accuracy. And when he's talking about his ball placement not having been good enough, one of the things that I like about him is that, unlike some other people who shall remain nameless, that have played the same position for the same organization, and I mean both of the guys, frankly, that came before him, like, he owns it. And he, for him to say, I've been too inconsistent with my accuracy, maybe Aaron Rodgers was never inconsistent with his accuracy, but I respect the heck out of him for owning his shortcomings, because I think that is really important, and I'm glad that he does it.
So, like, as character people go, they're pretty good guys, right? Yes, he's owned it. And LaFleur goes, yep, I shouldn't have called the timeout. I should have been ready. Like, they're great with the accountability. I just need him to play better, right? Like, what indication is that this will change? I mean, God bless you for saying that, right? And that is nice, right? But okay, good. So how do I know you're not going to blow a timeout again? How do I know that you're going to miss any of these passes that are, 15, 20 yards in the air that you've been off. How do I know that's magically going to change on Saturday in Philadelphia?
It's not. I mean, look, the fact of the matter, and again, this is just my opinion. Sorry, I'm glad I can do that for you. But look, here's the thing. Like, and I'm not saying that a run here would be completely impossible. I think it's highly unlikely. But I have believed from the start that, again, like Brad Pitt in Moneyball, it's a process. It's a process. It's a process. And, I'm old enough to remember, even though some of the years predated my time covering the team, the 93, 94, 95, 96 progression of those Holmgren teams, right? I was talking to somebody about this after the game on Sunday. This feels kind of like the 94 team where you can see them getting better. The young quarterback has gotten better. Their defense has gotten better, and all the growth is in the right direction. But it's not enough to say, okay, they're going to go win the title this year. And then the next year in '95, they go to San Francisco and beat the defending champs, and they have a lead on the Cowboys in Dallas before they collapse. And then '96, they go and win the whole blanket thing. And I'm not saying that, in 2026 now the Packers are going to go win the title, but what I am saying is that it does take time. And I think them beating Dallas last year in Dallas changed our expectations and accelerated the timeline in our minds. And maybe they were just really, really good in that game and then, frankly, for 3 quarters in San Francisco. And they had to still go through the maturation process. So, again, they could go out on Sunday and win, and no one will be talking about all the uneven performances they had throughout the regular season. But I have a hard time picturing that just because I've seen so much inconsistency throughout the year, and this is the last way you want to be going into the playoffs. And I really, maybe I'm the last man standing on this, but I really believe that Christian Watson makes a difference. I just do. And not having him now, I just think that tilts the field in Philly's favor.
All right, for both of you, one last question. Doesn't the Dallas win be something they can hold on to? And don't both of you have to say, yeah, they can do it. They did it before. Amongst all the other things, they were a bigger underdog against Dallas. So isn't the one thing everybody should believe above everything else, except for me, Cooper, is they've done it before. You're not asking them or LaFleur to do anything you haven't seen, and they don't have to beat Philly by 100 like they did Dallas. So what prevents either of you from bringing that up as any significant part of your opinion about the game? Jason, because I know you got to go.
Yeah, for me, it's because they looked so different to me coming into that than they do coming into this one. They had a different. I believe in momentum. Matt LaFleur doesn't, or at least he says he doesn't. Maybe that's because he doesn't have any right now. But the fact of the matter is that they were. I was not surprised when they beat the Cowboys last year. I will be surprised if they win on Sunday
because of momentum. All right, John,
the way they're
Professor?
playing.
Last year was a long time ago, and if you are relying on good vibes from a year ago, that's a pretty thin string to hold your playoff hopes on.
After you had high jumped 7.5 the first time, didn't you think you could do it again, even if you hadn't for a while?
No, actually, I knew I'd had my best day. I don't know that's a great comparison. I'm like, no, this
bad question. All right,
Big day. Big Daddy had touched the clouds as high as he was going to go. Now, I did think, but I did think that 7 foot could then become a routine thing. I didn't know that if 7.2.5 would ever come back again.
Never mind. So Jason, do you have anything you can finish the segment better with than him making fun of my analogy? We call that a Tauscher on this show.
Yeah, that did not go as planned. But
any player on that team, as young as they are, as bad as things are, as bad as the momentum, all you've said, they've done it. That's how I'd feel on the team. We did it. We're not being asked to do anything we haven't already done.
Yeah, I'm going to bail you out because your attempt with the high jumper there was poor. I think you're exactly right. I think that those guys are thinking that in the locker room. Hey, we did it last year against the Cowboys. I know we're not playing the way we want to be going into this game, but we know we can do this. We've done it before. I think that is incredibly valuable to them. I'm just saying that I don't think it translates to them actually doing it successfully again. But from a mentality standpoint, when you don't have, hey, we've won 3 in a row and 6 of our last 8, and we've played really good football like they had last year going in, you have to find something else to hang your helmet on. And I'm guessing that what you're saying is exactly what those young guys are hanging their helmets on of, hey, look what we did to Dallas last year. We can do that again to Philly, and that's where their belief is probably starting out at.
I hope they believe it more than you do. Thanks, Jason.
I'm happy to help. All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Want to mention Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team, the Holtebeck Eye Center. He's been doing it forever at his Brookfield office, make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at state-of-the-art office. And then he said, I want to do even better. He's been helping local patients, Dr. Holtebeck, with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Going to do it even better, so he added to the team Dr. Nashin Abbas. So don't mess with your vision. Trust the experts. Just keeps getting better. How easily and well they handle things. Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com. And maybe we'll get to the Bucks. Tune in to Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR benefits consultant. Behind the Bucks dives deep into the Bucks in 6, a culture unknowingly created by former Bucks star Brandon Jennings. Take a look inside the Brandon Jennings story, the origin of Bucks in 6, how it became the rallying cry, and what it truly means to Jennings and Bucks fans alone. Behind the Bucks on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get your podcast. Behind the Bucks, presented by Gallagher. Third quarter coming up. I got to come up with better. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up on ESPN Wisconsin. Join Homer on the trip of a lifetime to see the many shades of Ireland in August. Text Homer to 800-990-3776 for info.
Southbound on 43. We got some backups from just before Fond du Lac Avenue all the way down through the Marquette and over the high rise. Northbound's backed up from about Kilbourne all the way up to Locust. Westbound 94's got some backups from the Marquette all the way to about Hawley Road. Eastbound slowing down from 84th Street to about 35th. And then we've got some delays along southbound 41, basically from Silver Spring pretty much down past Capitol Drive, with the northbound side slowing down just before Mayfair Road up to Burleigh. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net to learn more. That's nealgroup.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 13. Then tomorrow, sun and clouds, a few flurries with a high of 22. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
The green and gold and playoff football. Are you going to be ready come game time? HD TVs in every room. Check. Green and gold flag out front. Check. Grill ready to fire up. Check. Chips, dips, cheesehead. Check, check, check. Now the real planning begins. A trip to Discount Liquor to complete your own personal playoff party. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Is beer on the menu? We'll set you up with your favorite or recommend something new. We have over 2,000 to choose from. What about liquor? Our variety is unmatched, as is our selection of wine. So if you want it, we've got it. Discount Liquor is your personal playoff party headquarters. Discount Liquor has everything you need, all at the lowest prices in town. Come see us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Open daily 9 to 9 and Sundays 10 to 2.
Discount Liquor.
Homer here. I'm inviting you to join me starting August the 9th as we explore the many shades of Ireland with Colette Vacations, a 10-day journey filled with legendary views, historic expeditions, and unforgettable tales. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. We'll also journey Ireland's breathtaking countryside and follow the stunning coastal route of the Ring of Kerry. We'll experience the daily life of an Irish family with a dairy farm. Visit and enjoy a taste or two or 3 at a historic whiskey distillery, and we'll even stay overnight in a medieval castle. Join me for all of these experiences and so many more. Colette handles all the details of the 10-day excursion. Flights, the meals, the hotels, the experiences. Don't worry about it. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Meet the wonderful Colette team and me on Sunday, February the 2nd to find out all the details. Or text Homer to ESPN Milwaukee's talk and text line for full details. That's Homer to 800-990-3776.
Great Midwest Bank has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed business technology company. The bank's IT systems administrator, Michael Quizan, comments on the value of local.
We call on them at any point, they're there. We ask them any questions that we have, they're there.
James Imaging Systems, local business technology solutions, local support, local accountability. Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra.
If an issue does arise, they're very prompt, polite, and professional. It makes me feel empowered because I find it very easy to resolve something.
James Imaging Systems client, Al Leidinger, President of Matheson Manufacturing, summarized the benefit of local.
James Imaging has been a really good partner with us from the beginning.
Go with local. Go with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Oh, I got to come up with something better. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. I said that for a long time. Then I said, yeah, I really should tell you that they've been doing it well for over 50 years. That's how you can be so good. And then I discovered another thing I didn't mention, which I should have, which is probably even more important. Small enough to handle your needs with special attention and large enough to have the clout to make it happen. Yeah, you got to have companies that want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, not just because of you, but because of your working with Saganiac Planning, and that's how it works for Saganiac Planning. But small enough so you're not lost. Large enough to have the clout to make it happen with the companies you deal with. Saganiac Planning, 262-783, Roger Maris, 262-783-6161. Better than 50 years doing it well. And now we get back to John Anderson when he did 7.2.5. He said, I can do it again. He probably thought, you know what, I might be able to do 7.3.5. He's too kind an individual to tell us the truth. He downplayed it. Or should I just move on?
Well, first, can I correct something I said weeks and weeks ago when you first did the Roger Maris?
Yes.
For 6. I said, and I don't know why I had this brain freeze, that, he had the same number of hits from the right side of the plate as the left side. It wasn't that. He had the same number of hits on the road and at home. He was not a switch hitter. He batted from the left-hand side. He had the same number of hits on the road and at home, which is still remarkable. It's just so I'm glad I can make that correction.
And he went on to play with the St. Louis Cardinals and won a title there, and viewed as a fabulous player and a great teammate. His only problem was, and you have to be old enough to have been around, that everybody wanted Mickey Mantle to break the record, and his hair went out and stuff. And I got to interview him one time in the airport of Green Bay. He had come in for an event. And
by the way, now I messed up again. You were saying, Roger, I was thinking Stan Musial. I screwed up on Stan Musial.
Stan Musial, that's what it was. Same
Stan
number
Musial
of hits on the right left end.
There you
yes.
go.
Home in the road because he was a left-handed hitter.
Everybody wanted Mickey Mantle to break the record.
But my fascination was somebody wrote a book or gave me that, like, he was this incredible high school football player, Roger Maris was like, and he's from, I always confuse North and South Dakota because I think they're the same. I mean, if I was going to be president, the first thing I'd change was you just got Dakota. With the North and South, it just makes no sense. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But he had 6 touchdowns in a high school game, and he was just a very quiet, reserved man, even that time so many years later. And when you hear his teammates speak about him, and you dealt with this with 10 times as many athletes as I do, it's really impressive when you hear athletes speak about a teammate who they are kind of in awe of, not just with ability, but with personality and style and stuff. I don't know who fits
when
that.
If you played with Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, and Billy Martin, it's easy to be the quiet, calm one. You know, those three jamokes.
But they said the same when he went over and played with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
And I don't believe they had that group. They had, Bob Gibson, Mike Shannon, Kurt Flood, Julian Javier. Yeah, all right. I think let's get back to the Packers. Since you have so confidently and accurately given the difficulty for the Packers, if they do lose the game, I'll be a little disappointed in the season, but not that much, because there have been some young players that have become important. Cooper is, of course, at the top of my list, but there are others which make you be somewhat positive about next year, other than the issue is going to be, and always is, and starts with the quarterback. Of all that has happened, I don't think I'm near as negative as the two of you are about Love, because when he was throwing the interceptions, I said, so what? You keep throwing the touchdown passes, you can throw some interceptions. And all of a sudden, the touchdown passes have stopped. And I admit, I'm not shocked at what he's done. I'm shocked that nobody's open. And I know you don't have Christian Watson, but I just don't think it's that big. And now you have Tucker Kraft, who is quite possibly as good as his position as any of them are as wide receivers. You have a better running back that you can use more often. You have this incredible tight end that you can give the ball way more than they do. And I don't have an answer, to what's happened. And I was wrong on Jaden Reed. He's clearly not as good as I sold early in the year, because you can't be that good and disappear. So I just,
as my friend, when you talk about Kraft and those guys, and then as my friend and former colleague John Butcher would say, then do that, right? Like if Kraft is open, could be there and be there, then do that.
Yes, and why isn't it there? What's happened? I defer to people that follow the game. It doesn't make sense. Go ahead.
So I don't think I'm trying to be overtly negative. I'm not trying. I just don't know that you can praise things that aren't there.
Yeah, no, you're just being accurate.
So if that comes as like, oh, this guy is just wow, he's Eeyore, and thanks for loaning us your
No, you're not.
I think that's just what they've shown us over 17 weeks. For the longest time, I'm with you. Let's hope I'm with Jason. I think Watson is a huge key. I think that guy could do more in the offense, and when he's in there, he does change it just by being on the field. In the absence of that, why are we just pound, run, pound, pound, pound? I don't know that necessarily that Love has regressed. I just don't know that, like everybody said, he has progressed as much as we think or what we had hoped to find. I like the fact that the guy seems to be aware. I think that makes a huge difference. If somebody wants to get better, they have to be aware that there are shortcomings. And at least he seems aware of that, which is, in that case, seems like, okay, there's a guy then is willing to work. If the guy goes, I don't know, what's the problem? I don't see any problem. Things are great, then I think you have an issue. Are they a year away? Maybe. Did we take what happened last year and accelerate that and think, okay, now they'll go through? I don't know. I think when we talked very early in the season, what could be this team's ceiling or what would be great, we're like, listen, they may not have they could have a better record. It doesn't mean they repeat the performance in the playoffs. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a lost season. I am most troubled by the fact that they just can't seem to put an entire game together in 17 weeks. They've had, the Cardinals outing was pretty good. Texans, they hung on in there and got it. They've had some, but I don't know that if you said, boy, did they have one game where they just impressed the hell out of you? I don't know that you have that game. So, again, maybe they're saving it for Sunday. Good enough. And as I said to the other fellow, if, at some point, I guess, if people look at that and LaFleur wants to go, listen, nobody believes in us. It's just these 53 guys in the room. Okay. But what you've given us and what you've shown us, I think, leads us to the conclusion. I don't know that people are hating on them. The Packers, if you say, I don't think they should win, I don't know. Right? There's a reason they're an underdog in the game. It's not just because us, a few people in the media, like the Sharps decide that that's the case too. So, but I don't think, you toss this all away and what a horrible season and terrible. No, I think they've improved by a couple of games. The way playoffs go, it is,
my answer is you don't, and it's tough. You don't want to be a number 7 seed. You're a number 7 seed on a regular basis. You're going to lose. It's too hard.
And then they clearly have things to get better at. You're like, wow, okay, right. I didn't know that Jordan Love was going to be the third best quarterback in the conference.
Right. All right, we need to take a break, and then I'm going to ask you probably the final question, and that is the sloppiness. How much do you, John Anderson, and what percentage, or how do you assess how much Matt LaFleur has to take for the season of sloppiness next?
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Romeo. This 3-syllable, you have to take the O out of the equation. That's too easy.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Iota, right? Not one iota. Iota.
Yeah, that's only 4 letters.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
Let's pretend you're a first-time listener to Wilde and Tausch. What the hell is this? They're discussing syllables.
On 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Kevin Moret for Mentality. Most new clients in Mentality are stuck at just 1/3 the free testosterone they need, and that's a losing battle. Without enough free testosterone, nothing works. Your energy's gone, muscles weaken, and fat piles on. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Mentality's doctors bring your hormones back into balance so your body starts working again. More energy, stronger muscles, better results. This year, stop settling for a fraction of your potential. Start strong with our New Year offer at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Ready for a game changer? Now's the time to take your shot with Quartz, your local provider-owned and affordable health insurance. You can choose from a range of benefits to best support you and your family. Quartz is a proud partner of Aurora Healthcare, so you get to stay in the network you love. Visit quartzbenefits.com or call Saganiac Planning 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. Quartz branded health plans are offered by Quartz Health Benefit Plans Corporation, Quartz Health Plan Corporation, and Quartz Health Insurance Corporation, which are separate legal entities. The Saganiac Planning Marquette records. Coaches have always said, you got to make your free throws. They would have loved the 2017-18 Marquette team that, as a team, shot better than 80%. How? Marcus Howard missed 7, made 105. Andrew Rousey missed 19, made 175. Sam Hauser missed 10, made 51. And Matt Held, he missed 4 and made 28. A team better than 80% from the line. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
How are the Bears above hiring Mike McCarthy? That's the part that I don't get. Chicago Bears fans, what the hell are y'all talking about?
This is so ridiculous. The Bears fans, we love ESPN 1000 in Chicago. The Bears fans are complaining about preemptive disasters in the postseason. How about getting to the postseason? Why don't you get there and then complain about the disaster in the postseason? And I get not everyone's on board with this for a myriad of reasons. What we are saying on our show, the three of us, is very simply, you need a coach who's been there and done that. CC built the prototype. He's going to continue to do with some of these jobs today, but built the prototype weeks ago. Get someone who's been there and done that doesn't need to ask questions about how this thing works, and get to the playoffs where you're lucky enough to have a meltdown in the postseason, because you ain't even lucky enough to have the meltdown right now.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
We're getting crushed out here. What's going on with you, Nick? You used to be the unstoppable king of flag football.
I'm feeling my age. At 40, I feel like I can't keep up anymore.
Is it lower testosterone?
Lower T?
Yeah. When you turn 40, you have less testosterone. It's harder to stay lean and get the same results you used to get. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I know Nugenix. It really gives you an edge.
No question. At work, the gym, the bedroom, Nugenix turned back the clocks. Now I've got the same energy that I did in my 20s.
I want to try Nugenix.
All right, time out. Guys, go text Nugenix and get yourselves a complimentary bottle to try.
Text TEAR to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text TEAR to 42424. That's TEAR to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
The John Anderson Homer Hour. One more time, travel plans, listen up. Explore the many shades of Ireland. I'll be there along with Colette Vacations August the 9th. I got brochures if you want one. I deliver. We're heading off to an unbelievable journey. I won't go to Missouri, though. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. Duke Tomato will also not be there. Visit an Irish dairy farm, enjoy a taste or 2 or 3 or 4 of historic whiskey distillery, and stay in a medieval castle. Colette handles everything. All you have to do is text Homer to the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line. That's 1-800-990-3776. Text Homer to get the info, 1-800-990-3776. 7-2.5, John Anderson, Professor John Anderson. The Packers, as stated, as you have stated and others, have been pretty sloppy all season long. How much and how do you assess that relative to your belief or thoughts about Matt LaFleur?
Well, first off, it's been a long time since I heard Duke Tomato and the All-Star Frogs. Good on you. I think, and maybe this is literally my dad speaking, okay? He passed away about 11 or 12 years ago. This is me. It's all coaching. It is entirely on the coaching staff. Winning and losing, those details.
Can I ask you one question?
Entirely on LaFleur.
Okay, and so as a follow-up, but it doesn't seem that his teams have been sloppy in the past. Maybe I have, and I didn't notice. If a coach doesn't have sloppiness and then it shows up, how do you factor in your 100% comment about it's on the coach?
Which doesn't make him a bad coach, right? He's had wonderful game plans, got all this stuff. But if it happens that many times in a row, right? You can have a one-off. Yeah. Oh, they've been sloppy this week. That was bad. They've had essentially 18 weeks of sloppy play in there. Way more sloppy than not sloppy. And so I think that's how it's on the coach. And as I've said before, right? You can go over and teach them and teach them and teach them. So you teach all these things. What do you got to emphasize? And I don't know if they have to emphasize different things. But it just falls on him. And he told Wilde again about how they practically did. But all that kind of stuff, when they say we can clean it up and it's correctable, that's the coach's job during the week. And if it keeps showing up on Sunday, somebody's not doing their job during the week.
Why not in past years? In his first year as coach. 10 seconds. Why not in past years? I know. Don't know and don't care, right?
No, don't have to explain. Don't know if the guys aren't attentive. Don't know if they're practicing differently or how they do that. They may have changed things up. But coach has got to do better.
John Anderson, 7-2.5. I love saying it. I'm as amazed and impressed today as I was the first time I said it. Damn, I wish he'd said when I did that I thought I could do 7-3.5. But the man won't lie. You get salt and sugar, and you get them both. Marquette basketball.
Packers in 6.
Nice.
Eastbound 94 is going to be a bit backed up from 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange to about 35th. The westbound side slow out of the